So for anything else, I would like to share a little bit information on how Roman literature started. So began the near end of 3rd century BCE, Roman literature was started. So what do you mean by BCE?
Before Christ era.
Yes, that's correct. Or in other words, before Jesus Christ's birth. So can you please read everyone the meaning of Roman literature?
Roman literature was written in Latin in the years between the foundation of Rome and the fall of the Western Roman Empire. It is a rich and vibrant purpose which includes race, sitcom, literary poetry, satire, and historical documentary.
Okay, thank you guys. Oh, thank you everyone. So one of the famous Roman literature is the poetry. So in our Roman literature, there are 3 poets in Roman literature. These are Virgil, Horace, then I don't know how to pronounce it, but for me it's Ovid. So this thing, one of the famous poetry here is Virgil. So nag-gamasyon po na gitay-tulan o Aeneid. I don't know if sakto ba niya, pero ano din niya akong pagkuhan. Yan na, yung spelling. Tagalog mo? For me, Aeneid. This is one of epic poem. So, speaking of epic poem, another one example of epic poem is the Odyssey. So, more details about this poem will be discussed. Subsequent reporter will go into deeper regarding this topic. So, may I ask, Junalisa ba to report the Odyssey by Homer? Fire!
There are 25 characters of the Odyssey. Number 1 is Odysseus. Odysseus is the protagonist of the Odyssey. Odysseus fought among the other Greek heroes at Troy and now struggles to return to his kingdom in Ithaca. Odysseus is the husband of the queen Penelope and the father of Prince Telemachus. Though a strong and courageous warrior, he is the most renowned for his cunning. He is a favorite of the goddess Athena, who often sends him divine aid, but a better enemy of Poseidon, who frustrates his journey at every turn. Number 2, Telemachus, Odysseus' son. An infant when Odysseus left for Troy, Telemachus is about 20 at the beginning of the story. He is a natural obstacle to the suitors desperately courting his mother. But despite his courage and good heart, he initially lacks the poise and confidence to oppose them. His maturation, especially during his trip to Pylos and Sparta in Book 3 and 4, provides a subplot to the epic. Athena often assists him. Number 3, Penelope. Wife of Odysseus and mother of Telemachus, Penelope spent her days in the palace pining for the husband who left for Troy 20 years earlier and never returned. Homer portrays her as sometimes flighty and excitable, but also clever and steadfastly true to her husband. Number 4, Athena, daughter of Zeus and goddess of wisdom, purposeful battle, and the womanly arts. Athena assessed Odysseus and Telemachus with divine powers throughout the epic, and she speaks up for them in the councils of the gods at Mount Olympus. She often appears in disguise as mentor and old friend of Odysseus. Calypso, the beautiful nymph who falls in love with Odysseus. When he lands on her island home, Ugaiga eh? Ugaiga. Calypso holds him prisoner there for 7 years until Hermes, the messenger god, persuades her to let him go. Circe, the beautiful witch goddess who transforms Odysseus' crew into swine when he lands on her island. With the help of Hermes, Odysseus resists Circe's powers and then becomes a lover, living in luxury on her side for a year. Poseidon, god of the sea, as the suitors are Odysseus' mortal antagonist. Poseidon in his divine antagonist, he despises Odysseus for blinding his son, the Cyclops Polyphemus, and constantly hampers his journey home. Ironically, Poseidon is the patron of the seafaring Phaeacians who ultimately help to return Odysseus to Ithaca. Zeus, king of gods and men, who mediates the fields of the gods at Mount Olympus. Zeus is occasionally depicted as winning men's faith in his scales. He sometimes helps Odysseus or permits Athena to do the same. Antinous, the most arrogant of Penelope's suitors, Antinous leads the campaign to have Telemachus killed. Unlike the other suitors, he is never portrayed sympathetically, and he is the first to die when Odysseus returns. Eurymachus, a manipulative disciple suitor, Eurymachus' charisma and duplicity allow him to exert some influence over the other suitors. Amphinomus, among the dozens of suitors, the only decent man seeking Penelope's hand in marriage. Amphinomus sometimes speaks up for Odysseus and Telemachus, but he is killed like the rest of the suitors in the final fight. Eumaeus, the loyal shepherd who, along with a cohort, helped Odysseus reclaim his throne after his return to Ithaca, even though he does not know that the vagabond who appears at his hut is Odysseus. Eumaeus gives the man food and shelter. Euryclea, the aged and loyal servant who nursed Odysseus and Telemachus when they were babies. Euryclea is well informed about palace intrigues and serves as confidant to her master. She keeps Telemachus' journey secret from Penelope, and she later keeps Odysseus' identity a secret after she recognizes a scar on his leg. Melanthus, the brother of Melanto. Melanthus is three sheroes and opportunistic gathered who supports the suitors, especially Eurymachus and Abuses, the beggar who appears in Odysseus' palace, not realizing that the man is Odysseus himself. Melanto, sister of Melanthus and maid servant in Odysseus' palace. Like her brother, Melanto abuses the beggar in the palace, not knowing that the man is Odysseus. She is having an affair with Eurymachus. Polyphemus, one of the Cyclops, whose island Odysseus comes to soon after leaving Troy. Polyphemus imprisons Odysseus and his crew and tries to eat them, but Odysseus blinds him through a clever ruse and manages to escape in doing so. However, Odysseus angers Polyphemus' father, Poseidon. Laertes, Odysseus' aging father, who resides on a farm in Ithaca. In despair of a physical decline, Laertes regains his spirit when Odysseus returns and eventually gives Antinous' father. Tiresias, a Theban prophet who inhabits the underworld. Tiresias meets Odysseus when Odysseus journeys to the underworld in Book 11. He shows Odysseus how to get back to Ithaca and allows Odysseus to communicate with the other souls in Hades. Nestor, king of Pylos and a former warrior in Trojan War, like Odysseus, Nestor is known as a clever speaker. Telemachus visits him in Book 3 to ask about his father, but Nestor knows little of Odysseus' whereabouts. Menelaus, king of Sparta, brother of Agamemnon and husband of Helen, he helped lead the Greeks in the Trojan War. He offers Telemachus assistance in his quest to fight Odysseus when Telemachus visits him in Book 4. Helen, wife of Menelaus and queen of Sparta. Helen's abduction from Sparta from the Trojan sparked the Trojan War. Her beauty is without parallel, but she is criticized for giving end to her Trojan captures and thereby costing many great men their lives. She offers Telemachus assistance in his quest to find his father, Agamemnon, former king of Mycenae, brother of Menelaus and commander of the Asian forces at Troy. Odysseus encounters Agamemnon's spirit in Hades. Agamemnon was murdered by his wife and her lover, Aegeus upon his return from war. He was later avenged by his son Orestes. Their story is constantly repeated in the Odyssey to offer an inverted image of the fortunes of Odysseus and Telemachus. The summary of the Odyssey. Odysseus, king of Greece, Odysseus, king of the Greek island of Ithaca, has been away from home for 20 years. He left his wife and baby son to cross the sea and fight in the Trojan War. After the war ended, Odysseus set out for home with a crew of men. However, after disaster befell Odysseus, who had angered the powerful ocean god Poseidon. Monsters and giants killed members of his crew. Other crew members died in a shipwreck. Now, only Odysseus remains alive. Stranded on an island of the name Calypso, who wishes to keep him as her husband. Odysseus is miserable and homesick. Encouraged by the gods, Calypso agrees to let him go and sends him on his way on a raft. Poseidon rapes the raft, but Odysseus manages to swim to shore and he finds himself in the land of the earthly Phaeacians, who offer to ferry him home to Ithaca. Meanwhile, in Ithaca, Odysseus' faithful wife, Penelope, is still waiting for his husband to return. She does not wish to marry any of the many suitors who are occupying her house. She feels unable to send the arrogant and unmannered suitors away. But she continues to stall in selecting one of them as her husband. Odysseus' son, Telemachus, is now a young man. He too feels angry with the suitors and wonders what has become of Odysseus. Inspired by the goddess Athena, Telemachus undertakes a sea voyage to visit two kings who fought alongside Odysseus in the Trojan War, in hopes that one of them might have news of his father. While Telemachus is gone, the suitors plot to ambush his returning ship and kill him. However, Telemachus returns safely to Ithaca after learning that his father is alive. Instead of going back to the palace, Telemachus visits the hut of the swineherd Eumaeus, a long-time faithful servant of the family. Eumaeus has another visitor, a storytelling Vigard, who Telemachus learns his father in disguise. After a joyful, tearful reunion, father and son begin plotting the downfall of the suitors. Odysseus, Eumaeus, and Telemachus journey to the palace. They're still in bigger costume. Odysseus begs for food from the suitors who abuse and threaten him. He does not know immediately, readily, nor reveal his identity to Penelope, who has come up with a test by which she will select her future husband. She promises that she will marry whoever can string Odysseus' great bow and shoot an arrow through a row of axes. None of the suitors prove able to accomplish this feat, but Odysseus accomplishes the task easily. Bow in hand, he finally announces his identity and begins to shoot the suitors. With help from the goddess Athena, Odysseus, Telemachus, and Eumaeus are able to keep the suitors. After the fighting ends, Odysseus is joyfully reunited with Penelope as well as his father, Laertes. Although members of the suitors' families band together to avenge the suitors' deaths, Athena intervenes and brings peace. That's the summary of Odyssey.
So, Odyssey is the one-two-pager ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer. So, it is one of the oldest extant works of literature. Odyssey is the one of the two major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer. It is one of the oldest extant works of literature still widely read by modern audience. As with the Iliad, the poem is divided into 24 books. It follows the Greek hero Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, and his journey home after the Trojan War. After the war, which lasted 10 years, his journey lasted for 10 additional years, during which time he encountered many perils and all his crewmates were killed. In this absence, Odysseus was assumed dead and his wife Penelope and son Telemachus had to contend with a group of unruly suitors who were competing for Penelope's hand in marriage. So Odysseus began after the end of 10 years of Trojan Wars. So Odysseus, also known by the Latin variant, which is Ulysses, or Odysseus is the king of Ithaca. And Odysseus still not returned to his kingdom Ithaca because he angered Poseidon. So Poseidon is the god of the sea. So the name of the son of Odysseus is Telemachus. So Telemachus is 20 years old and is sharing his absent father's house in the island of Ithaca with his mother named Penelope. And the suitors of Penelope, a crowd of 108 boisterous or strong young men who aim to persuade Penelope for hand in marriage. 108 suitors, all were waiting her in the king's palace and eating up his wealth treasure. So, Odysseus protected God in Athena, asked Zeus, king of God, to finally allow Odysseus to return home. So when Poseidon is absent from Mount Olympus, this is befriended a chieftain named Mentes. Athena bested Telemachus to your present to the suitors during the Rhodelin wildfield. The band performed as a relative home for them. So, ang taga-protekta ni Odysseus is Athena. Then, nag-ingon si Athena ni Zeus na ni Diyos na pwede na ba o ganang so that night, Athena disguised as Telemachus find a ship and crew for the true friends. The next morning, Telemachus calls an assembly of citizens of Ithaca to discuss what should be done with the insolent suitors of his mother Penelope, who then insult at Telemachus. Accompanied by Athena, So Telemachus, the son of Odysseus, departed for the Greek mainland to the household of Nestor, the most venerable of the Greek warriors at Troy, who resided in Pylos after the war. So from there, Telemachus ride to Sparta with Nestor's son. So nidong si Telemachus kauban si Nestor, ija anak ni Nestor. So there he find Melasius and Helen, who are now reconciled yet together. Both Helen and Menelaus also say that they returned to Sparta after a long voyage by the way of Egypt. There on the island of Paros, Menelaus encountered the old sea god named Proteus, who tells him that Odysseus was a captive of nymph Calypso. So Calypso is the goddess of the sea who fell in love with Odysseus. Telemachus learned the fate of Menelaus' brother, Agamemnon, king of Mycenae and leader of the Greeks of Troy. Agamemnon was murdered on his return by his wife, Clytemnestra, and her lover Aegisthus. The story briefly shifts to the soldiers who have only just realized that Telemachus is gone. Angry, they formulate a plan to ambush his ship and kill him as sails back home. Penelope overhears their plans and sorrows for her son safely. And that's all.
Roman god and goddesses appeared during the early years of empire between 20 BC and 20 CE.
To our next topic, which is Roman god and goddesses. So Roman god and goddesses, the people of the Roman Empire worship hundreds of different gods and goddesses. The most important gods, such as Jupiter, were similar to the ancient Greek gods. They were worshipped across the empire, and so were the spirits of the emperors. Some gods, such as Isis and Mithras, originally came from a region that had been conquered by the Romans, but they become popular across the empire. So, in our Roman mythology is adapt much of Greek mythology. So, one example here is the Jupiter, came from Greek god Zeus. So now, may I ask the presence of Miss Okno to elaborate the Roman god and goddesses.
Okay, thank you, Chabela. And now we discuss 12 Roman god and goddesses in Roman literature. First is Jupiter. Jupiter is a king of the gods and the sky. Jupiter was regarded as the Roman equivalent of Greek god who is known as Zeus. Now, Zeus. Basta na. Basta Zeus. Okay. He controlled the weather and the forces of nature, and he was known to send thunderbolts toward the citizens of Rome. He was renowned for having many sons and daughters, each with a collection of different women. And then Jupiter was the brother of Neptune and Pluto. And the second was Juno, queen of the Roman gods. And then Juno was based on the Greek goddess which known as Hera. Then she is Jupiter's wife. And the next is Neptune. Neptune is Roman god of the seas. And Neptune is the Roman equivalent to Poseidon. He was the deity of the sea, although later he was associated with rivers as well. He also went under the name Neptune Equestrian, becoming the ruler of horses and horse racing. And the fourth is Mars. Mars is the god of war. Mars was the Roman version of Ares, and Mars was considered to be the father of Romulus and Remus. And the next is Venus. Venus is Roman goddess of love and beauty. Venus is based on the Greek goddess which is known Aphrodite or Aphrodite. Aphrodite. Depende kung sa pagbasa nito. The word Venus means sexual love in Latin, giving her a core concept of desire and sex. She was married to Vulcan but had a long love affair with Mars, which resulted in 4 children. Russia, nang-affair. Sa affair, nag-gomong sa affair, nang-abit. Then the last is Mercury. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. Mercury is the Roman version of Hermes in Greek literature, diba? Hermes. He also ruled over wealth, good fortune, and commerce. Mutala kung anong gitawag man siya o messenger of the gods. Sa inyong pagsagot. Marites? Hindi. Ang sabi, ganang anong gitawag man siya anong messenger of the gods.
Hindi siguro nagdala sa mga news, padong sa mga...
Aside pa sa one.
Kaya na lang po mga po.
Pero mura lang sabot-abot ra kung messenger of the gods. Pero ang atong mapanani kay para siya katuuhan mo ng murag simpleng siya gipanan og messenger of the gods because one magkasaligan sila.
Hindi siya na ginaganda.
Siya marites. Magkasaligan niya, di siya marites. Trustworthy. Kuan, magkasaligan. And then Mercury is getting himself and others out of tricky positions. Na hilig siya ma-involve sa mga lisod na positions. Na mga siya mo pasolbat sa tanang mga problema. Okay, pressure. Naging kasaligan siya. And then, he was also known to be the guide for dead souls into the underworld. And other parts, other god and goddesses, let's make call Michelangelo.
Ayo, Bakit ano? Remove daw.
Apollo, god of sun, music, and dance. Apollo kept his Greek name as known as famous in Roman literature too. Apollo had many jobs and responsibilities as he was the god of archery, music, dance, healing, and disease, as well as sun and light. He was seen as one of the most influential Roman gods and was the son of Jupiter or the goddess of the sky, Zeus. Diana, Roman goddess of the hunt. The Roman version of Artemis, she was the goddess of wild animals, the hand, the moon, chastity, and childbirth. She was the twin sister of Apollo, and she was very popular with Romans who lived in rural areas. Next, Minerva, Roman goddess of wisdom and war. The Roman name for Athena, most commonly known as the goddess of war. However, she was also the goddess of commerce, industry, and education. Legend has it that she sprang from Jupiter's head. Next, Ceres. Fish and the sister. She was the goddess of the harvest, always quickly carrying a bundle of grain. And the Roman version of Demeter, Ceres, and Vulcan, god of blacksmith and volcanoes. He was the blacksmith of the gods and a god of the underworld. It took his furnace to harm volcanoes. Vesta, goddess of heart and home. She was the goddess of art and home and was very important to Romans. In her temple, a flame was always kept burning as in the heart of Rome. And so these are the Roman god and goddesses. But there are many others, but the main Roman god and goddesses is this is the 12 main Roman god and goddesses.
Unang tao is ito sila ang mga gods and goddesses. Pero in the 4th century daw is mura sila nasako po mga Christians. So naiubad nga, ito sila nga ang Ginoo is dili makita, dili mahilang, which is God, Jesus Christ, diba? So, mo na siya, kasi may niyang, di ba, bisan sa ato, karon ni adapt man tanang mythology nga na maghihapon tayo toto, umaoras na siya sa Roman, nga naghihapon sila toto, nagpabiling gihapon ng ilang mga totoo. Isa nato, ng totoo gihapon ta, di ba? So, questions sa about the Roman god and goddesses or either the Odyssey. Anyone? Winston, na kay Kwan, concerned about our topic today? Sa pa, wala nang may Kwan, question?
Naman.
Roman god and goddesses na may concerns.
Ipos ito.
Makaibaw kung sa asa gikan ng Kwan. Kasi namin gusto may bawan asa gikan ng ayaw, mag-explain no. Ang Roman mythology is adopt from Greek mythology.
Roman mythology.
Adapt from Greek mythology na nasa layoban ng gikuha ato ang inanan nila Roman then called it in their own. So example ato is Jupiter, which is came from Greek gods.
Pwede, sensitive pa na. Serious ka ba? Pwede, sensitive ka ba?
Kani Roman god and goddesses, ikan siya gi-adapt sa Greek mythology.
Series is Demeter as the Greek mythology.
When you reference na Roman god and goddesses, ang kinuha ni only a main major sa Roman god and goddesses kay dagat ka Uy, main major bitaw. Wala kay main major.
Iba is to. Meron nga iba is to.
Nestos na oy.
Basta na kayo
Maestos.
Basta na ang take.
Nagana si Vista is just a Greek mythology. Christian. Christian. Kaya nga Christian. Christian.
Sabi mo tanong. Sabi lang mga tanong. Kaya mong kabagon karon.
Isa ba rin yung story na Bisaya? Iwag pa sa movie sa yung main character sa story ba? Dama na protagonist sa shoes.